Okay, we're gonna get started. This is the Kentucky 4-H Parliamentary Procedure information, and it was created by Deborah Myers, 2018 Kentucky 4-H President, and edited by Rachel Noble, that's me, and this will be available online for viewing after our workshop today. If any of you all have any questions as we go through, please stop me. You can wave, you can unmute yourself, whatever works best for you, and I can answer any questions. We also have Dylan Gentry on the line. Dylan is the Kentucky 4-H Treasurer, the current Kentucky 4-H Treasurer, and he can answer questions as well. And then Brianna Burkhead will help us in a little bit. She will be our chair for our mock virtual meeting. And Landry Woodrum is on the line too. He is going to participate in the mock meeting as well at the end of our workshop. So let's get started. A lot of people wonder what parliamentary procedure is. Parliamentary procedure is a rule that defines how a particular situation is to be handled or a particular outcome achieved in a legislature or deliberative body. I think it's extremely important for Kentucky 4-Hers to understand parliamentary procedure because it helps you have the confidence in meetings to participate, to share your ideas, as well as to run a meeting in an organized manner. It's important not just for our leaders who are leading our meetings, but it's also important for our members. So at any point, if anyone has any questions, please stop me and I can answer them. I do want to preface all of this with I am not an expert on parliamentary procedure. I am learning just like everyone else. It is a vast topic with a lot of roles, and I think the most important thing is that we're willing as 4-Hers to learn and experience parliamentary procedure. So some of the rules for Parli Pro, these are basic, simple rules. The goal of this workshop is that you all will learn something to take back to your clubs so you can feel confident in using Parli Pro. First, use parliamentary procedure to protect the rights of all members. We want to ensure that members who are extroverted as well as members who are introverted have the equal opportunity to speak during club meetings. How many of you all have ever been in a club meeting where one person just completely rolls the committee meeting and it's extremely frustrating? Yes.
I have.
I see lots of head shaking. So Parli Pro is a way that leaders can tactfully stop members from over involvement and allow other members to be involved as well. The presiding officer station is called the chair. Members address only the chair, usually as Mr. President or Madam President, Madam Chair, or Sir Chair. A member must obtain the floor by being recognized before speaking, and today you all will see a little bit of that in our virtual meeting. And members are not entitled to the floor a second time in debate on the same motion as long as any other member who has not spoken on this motion wishes to debate. So this allows everyone to have the opportunity to speak. If the chair sees that no one else is speaking and the person who has already spoken wants to speak again, they do have that right. If all who wish to debate have spoken, that member can have the floor a second time. Each time the member is entitled to debate for up to 10 minutes. So that could be a total of 20 minutes in a committee meeting for one person to speak. The committee or the club or the deliberative body can decide to change that rule with an amendment to the rules, which we'll talk about in a little while. The state team council, for example, they don't ever reach 10 minutes, so it is very rare for a lot of 4-H club meetings to actually reach that 10-minute mark of debate. I'm going to stop. Does anyone have any questions about basic rules of Parli Pro? No? Okay. I want to draw your attention to two documents. They are from the Ohio State Extension. These are general rules, and they're really simple rules. They came through your email, but these help members to just understand how to survive in a meeting. So if you are using this information that you're learning today to take back to club members, or maybe you're using it to feel more confident, this cheat sheet will be perfect for you. General rules of Parley Pro: always rise to make a motion or to address the group. When making a motion, one should say, "I move that," not "I make a motion." A motion must be approved by a second person. The floor refers to the area in which business is being conducted, so you'll hear that very often using Parley Pro. There will be different meanings for the gavel taps, and we'll learn about that in just a little bit, but this is a quick cheat sheet reference for those gavel taps. Voting methods can include your voice vote, yay, nay. It can use raising your hand or showing of hands. It can be roll call as well, and then it can also be secret ballot. The president or chairman or chairwoman only votes in the case of a tie. When used properly, Parley Pro will provide for a very orderly and efficiently run business meeting. The other points in this we'll talk about in just a little bit. So I want you to make sure that you have that, and you can use it as a cheat sheet. You can put it in front of your club binder, and you can use it for later opportunities in 4-H club meetings. Order of business. So every meeting ran by Parley Pro should have an agenda. A properly ran meeting should have an agenda, and it should be prepared beforehand, and all members should have access to that agenda, whether it's printed out or on a PowerPoint sent out prior to. Everyone should have the access for that. So the order of the agenda. First, the meeting is called to order. Second, opening ceremony. In a lot of 4-H clubs, and hopefully all 4-H clubs, that's the Pledge of Allegiance and the 4-H pledge. Then it's the reading and the approval of minutes and the treasurer's report. One thing that is missing on this, and I just realized it, in District 4, we caught it earlier and I forgot about it, but here in this, there should be roll call. You want to ensure right after opening ceremony, you have your roll call, because you want to ensure you know who is at the meeting, to ensure that you have enough people to vote. And vote, quorum, make sure that you have quorum, and quorum should be laid out in the club's bylaws. So call to order is first, opening ceremony, reading and approval of minutes, and you can see here the way that's used is the president or chairman or chairwoman will say, the secretary will read the minutes, the secretary will then read the minutes, and then the president or chairman or chairwoman will ask, are there any additions? If not, the minutes will stand approved as read. That's pretty simple. Then the club will move on to the treasurer's report. The treasurer will give their report. Then that's it. The president or the chairwoman or chairman can say thank you. There's no voting on the treasurer's report. After those, it is the standing and special committee reports. Are there any committee reports? And then each committee will give their report, and they will make sure that they are recognized on the floor and then give their report. There'll be unfinished business. If there's any business that has been discussed in prior meetings that has been tabled or has been discussed, that's what that portion is for, unfinished business. Then there's new business. This is where any items that people want to bring up, any business that anyone wants to bring up for new business, anything that's not been brought up prior to this meeting. Then there can be an optional program. Sometimes it's a speaker, sometimes it's a film, sometimes it's an activity. Whatever the club decides to do, that's where you can put that program. Sometimes if it's a leadership club, there might be like a leadership activity. That's where that program piece would go. Then at the end of the meeting, it's adjournment. Are there any questions about the agenda of a meeting? Okay, this is where I'm gonna need some people to be involved. So I will, if you have the opportunity, you can unmute yourself and you can tell me the answer. So, which comes first? I'm gonna hold up the items and someone can speak up or you can put it in the chat box and you can tell me which comes first. Which comes first in a meeting ran with Parley Pro? Committee reports or adjournment?
Committee reports.
Good job, Landry. Landry is really fast. He must be on the quick recall team. Okay.
Boy.
What comes first? The secretary's report or roll call?
Roll call.
Good job. Yes. When do announcements happen? At the beginning or close to the end of the meeting?
Close to the end.
Oh.
Yes, close to the end. Good job. Okay. What does the meeting start with?
Pledge of Allegiance.
Budgets.
Gavel taps.
Oh, yeah.
Call to order. All meetings have to be called to order. So the gavel will tap and the meeting will be called to order. Awesome. Okay, what comes first? The treasurer's report or the secretary's report?
Secretary's report.
Secretaries.
Good job. Yes. Does the treasurer's report need approved?
No.
Right. It does not have to be voted on. It's a simple report. Good job. If I am a chairperson of one of the club's committees, what time would I give my report? During what section?
Announcements. Oh, committee reports.
Who said it? Someone said it?
Committee reports?
Yes, good job. Awesome. If something was tabled from the last meeting, what point do you bring that up in the new meeting?
Unfinished business.
Good job. Yes, unfinished business. Good job. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions about the agenda or how a meeting will run? No? Okay, awesome. Good job. Y'all did great. Okay, committees. Committees are extremely important in our club work. If you are a club leader or if you are a member of a club and you are on a committee, make sure that you understand what committees do and why they're so important. Committees, a group of people appointed for a specific function, typically consisting of members of a larger group. Standing committees perform a continuing function and remain in existence permanently. Standing committees are typically and should be in the club's bylaws. The special committees are appointed to carry out a specific task. Can anyone give me an example of a standing committee?
The bylaws committee.
Very good. Does anyone else have an example of a standing committee that you have worked on before or you know of?
The program committee?
Okay, very good. That would be a standing committee as long as it's in the bylaws.
Finance or budget?
Thank you. Yes, finance
So
or
much better,
budget.
Dylan.
Good. Okay, special committees. Can anyone give an example of a special committee that you know of or you've worked on before?
One that runs a snap election for new committee chairs. So like if one quits, you got to get a new one.
Okay, so that might depend on how the bylaws are written for the club, but it could be, yes, a special committee if that is in the club's jurisdiction. Anyone else have any ideas? Does anyone, where do you think that in most 4-H clubs, where do you think a community service committee might land?
Definitely
Special
standing.
committees.
Standing. In a lot of 4-H clubs, community service is a standing committee. If it is a new idea and it's outside the jurisdiction of a standing committee, community service committee, then it might be a special committee. Again, that depends on the club, but in most 4-H clubs, it's a standing committee. Good job. Thank you. Making a motion. How many of you all have been nervous in the past to make a motion in a huge club meeting or on a board?
I have not, sorry.
I have. I can see Dylan. Gabe has not. Kara, have you ever been nervous? Leanne? Laura? Have you all ever been nervous? No? Yes? Well, a lot of members are nervous, and it's understandable because it is very foreign language to us almost, the way that you have to use what you have to say. And so that's why it's extremely important for you all to have your cheat sheet because it walks you straight through that. And this also will help you. So the steps you need to make a motion. First, remember you don't say I make a motion. You say I move. The next thing is you say, the steps are 1, a member makes a motion. 2, the motion is seconded. So there has to be a second member who wants to discuss that item. 3, the chair states the motion. So the member gets recognized. The member says, I move. Someone seconds it. The chair restates the motion. There's discussion, and then there's a vote on the motion. Does anyone have any questions about a simple motion? What's the first thing that you have to do if you want to make a motion in a club meeting?
Be recognized?
Very good, yes. You have to be recognized by the chair before you can make a motion. What does the chair do after you make the motion?
Restates the motion.
Yes, restates the motion. Very good. And how do you move on from the motion? Once all the discussion is complete, what happens?
You vote.
Yes, very good. Thank you. Now you all are ready to make motions in your club meetings. Okay, now this is where it can get tricky. And one thing that I want to encourage all 4-Hers is to keep it simple. Don't overthink Parley Pro. It should be able to help you, not make you nervous. But this can get a little bit tricky. So feel free to always have this information if you need it. So subsidiary motions assist the group in treating or disposing of a main motion and sometimes other motions. So on the screen, you see the different options for subsidiary motions. First, you lay it on the table for discussion. Then there's a previous question, a call for previous questions that you return to the previous discussion. So whatever is being discussed or motion, you call for question. The limit or extend limits of debate. So earlier when I said that a member can only debate up to 10 minutes, the club can limit that or they can expand that. That's with a limit or extend limits of a debate. The group can also, number 4, postpone to a certain time. So if whoever is speaking wants to make a motion to postpone the discussion until December's club meeting, then that's how you would do that, with postponing to a certain time. The next is to commit or refer. So this one is if you're having a discussion in your club meeting and then there needs to be more research done for the item, someone may make a motion to send that to or refer it to a committee. So for example, if it's the fundraising committee and the club is not really feeling that they're getting enough information, they can refer that back to the fundraising or the budget committee, and they can do more research and bring it back to the next meeting. You can amend a motion, and that's the most common. So you all will see how a motion can be amended in a club meeting virtually today after we get through all of the material. And then the last one is postpone indefinitely. If you just want to kill the discussion, if you no longer want to make discussion on this topic, you postpone indefinitely. One thing that's important to remember with all motions is that there has to be a second. There has to be at least one other person who's interested in discussing or agrees with you to be able to move forward with the motion. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about motions? Does anyone want to share anything that they know about motions? Okay, we'll play our game again.
Can I just say something, Rachel?
Yes, thank you, Landry.
Something that, so I had to learn parliamentary procedure in an extremely in-depth manner for FFA. And I'm not going to go that hard, but something that always helps me keep track of things in a meeting is you should always think of a meeting like a train. Every motion is a train car, and every amendment is tacking another car on there. So you have to tackle the caboose first. You have to go from the back to the front of the train. So if you can visualize things in your head like piling on cars to a train and then having to go back to the front voting on it, that's always helpful.
That's a great analogy. Thank you.
Miss Rachel?
Yes, Brianna?
Might I add that it helps that I like to write it down, and then like main motion, you do like an M and then an A for amend, and then you can cross out like what you've done. So I know that helps for me.
That's great. That's a great piece of advice. Awesome. Okay, we'll play our game again. If you are in a club meeting and you want to make a motion, and you're talking about fundraising and you want more information, what kind of motion can you make to get more information about the fundraising topic?
Discussion. Move for discussion.
Okay, if you're already in discussion.
Refer it to a committee.
Yes, you can refer it to a committee, and you would state that I move to refer to the fundraising committee, and then someone would have to second that. So you can refer to the committee. If you are in discussion already, and let's say you're talking again about the fundraising of the club, and you're talking about doing a t-shirt, and you think maybe a t-shirt's not a good idea, and you want to do socks instead, what kind of motion could you make to the current discussion?
Move to amend.
Good job. Yes, you could amend the motion, the main motion, and you can make the motion to change the topic of the fundraising item. Okay, if you want to stop talking and you just want to kill discussion, no more what kind of motion would you make?
Postpone indefinitely.
Yes, good job. Thank you. Postpone indefinitely. Okay, the last one. If there's a member who is talking, just talking way too much, what kind of motion could you make to rein that member in?
Limit debate.
Yes, good job. You could extend limits, or you can limit the debate. Good job. Awesome. Now you all
Rachel,
ready?
can I say one thing?
Yes.
Sorry to bother you again, but just a reminder to everybody that if you are leading your club meeting and you are the chair, you cannot make any motions. Remember that you can trade places with your vice president. You just have to get your vice president to make that motion. You could switch out, then you can make motions. You just can't do it while you're the acting chair. Just wanted to let everybody know.
That's a great point. Thank you, Landry. And I think that's important. What he said is that you can switch places. Many times at state team council meetings, whoever's running the meeting will switch places, and another officer will lead the meeting if needed. Thank you, Landry. That's very important. Are there any questions about subsidiary motions? No? Okay, awesome. Next, we will go with the purpose of the gavel. The gavel is a sacred item in Parley Pro, and it should be treated as such. On the screen, you will see the adjourn the meeting is 1 tap. Seat the members is 1 tap. Completion of business is 1 tap. Call the meeting to order is 2 taps. And restore the order at a meeting, multiple taps. Okay, so we're gonna play a game. And you all are I'm going to say the action, and you all are going to hold up how many taps that it would take to complete that act in a Parley Pro meeting. Okay, so get a good look at the screen. You know now the taps for each of the actions. Okay. To adjourn the meeting, how many taps? Correct. 1 tap. Good job. To call the meeting to order, how many taps? Yes, 2 taps. Good job. To call, to regain order in a meeting, how many taps?
Multiple.
Multiple taps. Yes. Good job. Okay. To complete a business item. So if you've just voted on it, how many taps? Good job. Yes, 1 tap. Very good. The last one, to seat members after a pledge, or if everyone stands up, how many taps? Yep, 1 tap. Good job. Awesome. Thank you. So practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to use the gavel if you are a chair member or a chair of a club or the president of a club, because it does keep order in the club, and it's also an honor to be able to utilize the gavel. Awesome. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about the material that we've gone over today?
Yes, I do, Miss Rachel. I have, what should or could you use in place of a gavel?
Well, and that's a lot of people have that question. You can use your fist. You can, some people I have seen also like a wooden spoon. It just depends. What kind of club is it?
But one time I did see somebody use their shoe as a gavel. So,
well,
thank you.
Yeah. Ideally, you would have a gavel. In most extension offices, you can obtain a gavel. I'm not really sure if a shoe would be very appropriate, but I would avoid a shoe and try to call my extension office and get a gavel.
I'm pretty sure Roberts doesn't actually call for any sort of specific item. It just says make the noise. So for all intents and purposes, you could just scream like in the proper pattern. But, whatever.
Thanks.
I'm not really sure at how nice that would be at for your members to hear you screaming, but I guess.
I know in some of our team council meetings and stuff, just your fist works just fine.
Yes. I think it would
I have.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I have another question. Okay. Could we use your game for our teen club to help with learning parliamentary procedure?
Yes, absolutely. You can use any of these materials that you'd like to use.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.
You're welcome. Also, a fun game to play. We're not going to do it today since we're not in person, but one game that you can play to get members to feel more confident in their ability to use parliamentary procedure is mixing it up with Parley Pro and making Chex Mix and making motions and amendments and using that process to make trail mix. So that is an idea that you can use. You can choose some controversial items such as gummy bears. Not everyone wants gummy bears in their trail mix. You can use peanuts, and that brings up a lot of debate. So think about those things as you're planning to teach your members. Go over all the information with them. You're free to use this PowerPoint and the resources I provided for you, and then use that as an activity. And then they get to eat the trail mix. Who doesn't love that?
I know, right? Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anyone else have any questions about Parley Pro? No? Okay. What we are going to do now is I am going to turn the floor over to Brianna. Brianna is going to act as our chair for our club, and her two club members are Dylan and Landry. And if you are feeling confident enough at this point to jump in, you are more than welcome to participate in the club meeting as well. And the way that you'll do that is if Brianna can see you, you can unmute yourself and you can say, Madam Chair, and she can recognize you. You'll state your name and your county, and then you can add to the discussion. But for sure, Landry and Dylan are going to add some discussion, and if you feel confident, I want to encourage you to do so as well. So I'm going to turn the call over to Brianna, our chair, for our mock meeting.
Miss Rachel, before you do that, how would you like me to address the beginning of the meeting and our call to order?
You can just say, we'll now call the meeting to order, and then you can roll call names. If you can see names, can you see names on our call here?
I can.
So you can call names and they can say here or however you want to. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect.
We will now be holding a 4-H meeting of parliamentary procedure. Is Dylan here?
Present.
Is Kara here?
Present.
Is Gabe here?
Present.
Landry?
Present.
Leanne?
Present.
Seeing that everybody is here, we will now proceed to our main motion. What's the pleasure of the group?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Dylan.
I move to discuss the possibility of a fundraiser.
The motion has been stated to move that we have a fundraiser.
I second.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Dylan.
I think now would be a good time for a fundraiser as we creep toward the holiday season and people start to open their pocketbooks. As people start to open their pocketbooks, the extra cash could also go toward a holiday get-together if we later voted to have one. Thank you, and I encourage the delegation to vote this through.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Landry.
I am in favor of this motion on one condition, that we specifically fundraise a certain item rather than having an open thing. But other than that, I think we should vote this through.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Landry.
I move to amend the motion by adding the words fundraise a green t-shirt with Kentucky 4-H on the front.
The amendment has been stated that we move to fundraise with a green t-shirt that has the 4-H logo on it.
I second.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on this amendment?
Madam President,
Yes, Landry.
I encourage all of you to vote this motion through, as a fundraiser that has, Kentucky 4-H on a shirt would sell pretty fast, as it's a generalist item. We can sell it to alumni, we can sell it to Clover Buds, we can sell it to members. We can make a whole lot of money like this, which can fund Dylan's previously mentioned holiday get-together. Therefore, I encourage all of you to vote this amendment through.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Dylan.
I agree with the amendment Landry made. I think shirts would go really well this coming holiday season. Many people think, especially a general shirt, is a very easy gift for a lot of people to make, and I encourage a lot of people to vote for that amendment with another clarification.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Dylan.
I move to amend the amendment by adding "and a clover" so that the motion would read, just a second. I move the fundraiser to be a t-shirt with 4-H, with Kentucky 4-H on the front and a clover.
The amendment to the amendment has been added or stated that the clover is added to the green t-shirt with the Kentucky 4-H logo on it. Is there a second?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Gabe.
I second.
Thank you. The floor is now open to discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Landry.
I move the previous question.
Seeing that previous question has been moved, we will be voting on the amendment to the amendment. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Seeing none, the motion passes. The amendment passes. Now we will be voting on the original amendment, which was a green t-shirt with the Kentucky 4-H logo. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Seeing none, the amendment passes. Moving to the original main motion to fundraise with a green t-shirt that has the Kentucky 4-H logo and a clover on it. Please signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed? Seeing none, the main motion passes. Ms.
And
Rachel.
gavel taps. One gavel tap. Awesome. Good job. Everyone did a great job. Thank you. Thank you for participating. That got very heavy. There were a lot of amendments. Good job, Dylan and Landry, with testing Brianna's knowledge. And good job, Brianna, for keeping it all straight. Good job. Okay, are there any questions about parliamentary procedure, about making motions, about making amendments, anything like that that you would like answered? No? Okay, well, I never introduced myself on the call. I am Rachel Noble, and I'm the specialist for international and leadership programs for Kentucky 4-H. And at any point that anyone has any questions, if I don't know the answer, I will try to get the answer for you. And my goal is that everyone will feel confident in using Parley Pro and use it to keep your meetings organized. So if no one else has any questions, thank you all so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope that you can use this information in the future as a club member and as a 4-H member in Kentucky. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.
Thank you, Miss Rachel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.